Hey, I think these wine kits are a great way to get started making wine, and the Vinoit or Vinoit, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is a great way to get started. Now, I have gotten some excellent results by just simply modifying the instructions that come with some of these lower end or lower priced wine kits. I'll show you guys exactly how I do it and make great wine with these kits. Now, these wine kits are made by the same company that make the Reserve du Chateau and the ones that formerly made the Vino Italiano wine kits. And they all come with the same thing. So let's take a look at what they come with. A bag of grape juice concentrate, corks, some wine bottle caps, wine yeast, wine stabilizer, a packet of bentonite, some clarifiers, labels, and instructions. That's all that comes with these kits. And if you have a white wine kit, you're going to get a white wine concentrate. Red wine kit, likewise, you get a red wine as shown here. And one of the things you'll notice is that this is just ingredients that come in these kits. So you're going to need the winemaking equipment in order to make this. Just like a cake mix doesn't come with your pots and pans and things like that. So if you're ready, let's get started. Alright, so before we get started, we're going to want to clean everything exceptionally well. I like this Be Bright cleanser. It's pretty much what I use almost exclusively, and it works, to me, I believe, excellent. It's very similar to OxyClean. Anything that touches the wine needs to be thoroughly cleaned, so we're going to need a long-handled spoon for this step. Our primary fermenter, which is basically a food-safe plastic bucket, that is big enough to hold our wine, so it has to be over 6 gallons, so there's 7.8 gallons. And make sure I clean every single piece of this, including the lid and the underside, and make sure anything that touches the wine is immaculately clean. Technically, for primary fermentation, you don't need to snap the lid on, but I do anyway, because I don't want any fruit flies or anything like that getting into the wine. So I also am going to be using an airlock, so I'm going to clean that out as well. And this is one picture, and they come in multiple types. We're going to also need to clean our hydrometer, because we're going to need to take readings of what our starting specific gravity is in the winemaking process. If your primary fermenter is equipped with a spigot, you want to make sure it is shut off completely, so that when you start mixing things up, you don't have wine spilling out all over your floor. Now, if you're just starting out and don't have any equipment whatsoever, it might make sense to get a winemaking equipment kit. And this is stuff that you would buy once and use over and over again. And it would have many of the things that you would need for your home winemaking hobby. Might make sense. Hey guys. We have the Vinoit or Vinoit, I don't know how to pronounce it, wine kit. This is the mount kit. And what I'm going to need today is my package of bentonite, the wine yeast, I'm going to need to get set up for my primary pail, and the packet with a package of concentrate. Now, I wanted to show you guys what I've done here. I have a pail that I used, or that came with a frozen grape juice pail. This was a Chilean pail that I've made a wine from before. I got a frozen pail from Chile with Pinot Noir. And what I did is I saved the pail, because that's a 6-gallon pail, and it's a food-safe pail. And what I've done is I've taken the top and I drilled a hole in it and put a grommet. This has also the rubber seal on the bottom that will seal that. So I made my own fermenter, you guys could do the same. You know, there's no reason why you can't. The only thing I would tell you is it needs to be bigger than the amount of wine that you're making. So, since I typically make these kind of kits to 5 gallons, what I've done on the side of this pan, I don't know if you can see that too easily, is I took a gallon jug and I basically marked off for each gallon of water where it goes. Alright, yeah, you could use that, or you could use just a standard primary fermenting pail, but that's what I'm going to do, is use this. So, what I'm going to do first, set up my brand new tripod. Hopefully this is better for you guys to see, not as jumbly. Because I was holding it with my hand and I had this little tiny tripod. Anyway, that coffee you hear in the background, that gurgling, is my coffee. And it is January 1st, New Year's Day. I open my packet of at night. And what I'm going to do is I have some warm water in here. I'm going to vigorously stir this in as it's going. I'm not going to just dump it in because I'll get a lump of clay at the bottom. Bentonite is a clay that is used to help this wine basically clear quicker as it's fermenting. Now this is a red kit, a new red kit. I mostly make reds, so that's cool. Alright, so the next thing, I need to take the cap off of the pan. Off of that concentrate. Now guys, you can get one of these. I used to use a pair of pliers, like red pliers, and it worked even better than this. So this thing is a little bit frustrating. I say get the red pliers, which I might end up doing if I can't get these caps off. Hey, I got it off. Look at that. Cap is off. I'm going to take this bag of concentrate and carefully pour it in so I don't splash it all over and make a huge mess. Wow, that smells really great. I wish this was smell-o-vision, so you could smell it. So now I have my bag, and the bag still has some concentrate in it. So I'm going to fill this up with water, swish it around to pour it in. So I'm basically going to keep doing this till I get into the neighborhood of the 5-gallon mark on the pail, which is roughly this top ring. Alright, so there we have it, and I'm going to stir that around like crazy. And the reason why I want to do a good job at this is because the concentrate is much thicker than the water. So I really want to get that nice and blended. And while that's happening, I'm going to clean up any mess that I may have accidentally made. Now you notice this bucket also doesn't have a spigot on it. That's okay, you don't need a spigot. You could use your auto siphon. Alright, so with that said and done, I'm going to take my hydrometer, put it in my sanitizer, I'm going to take my hydrometer, I just sanitized and rinsed off, and I'm going to take an initial sugar reading. I'm going to try to zoom in so you can see that. I'm at 1.095, which is pretty nice. You're going to get about a 14% wine out of this when I'm done. And our next step is to take our wine yeast. Pick that up. Take my wine yeast, spoon out. Tear the top off the bag and just sprinkle it on top. So the Walser kit and the Mount kit are the first two kits for me in 2015. Today is New Year's Day, 2015. So far I got two kits started. Brand new kits. Alright. I'll be right back. Notice I don't stir that in. Alright, so I'm back. What I have here is an airlock I filled up with halfway with water. And I have my top that I previously have cleaned. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the airlock in first. Can you see that? There you go. Put airlock in first. Then I'm going to snap this lid completely on. Alright, and what we're going to do from here on in is monitor to make sure within the next couple of days that this starts bubbling. Because when fermentation starts, what happens is the yeast consumes the sugar in the grape juice, and it is going to convert it into alcohol, but the byproduct of that is also CO2 gas. So what's going to happen is the CO2 gas needs some way to get out, and it's going to get out through, see if I can lower this so you can see that a little bit better. It's going to get out through that airlock over there. Okay. Zoom in. That airlock. And what's going to happen is it's going to start bubbling. Now if I press on the top of this, it'll simulate what will happen. You see these bubbles? That's what's going to happen. So we're going to look for that in the next 2 days, for that to start within the next 2 days. It'll start bubbling a little bit, and then it'll get even more. Regardless, in about 10 to 14 days, this primary part of the fermentation will be finished. And at that point, we're going to be transferring it to a glass jug that we call a carboy. Alright, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next part of this exciting kit. What I'm doing here is I'm making a white and a red wine basically at the exact same time, so that those of you that want to get started and hey, I want to do a white, or hey, I want to do a red, you could follow along. Alright, and doing them side by side, and you can see the differences what I do. You'll notice that one of the things I've done, like I do with all my other wine kits, is I modify the instructions. The instructions say to fill it to 6 gallons. I do this particular style of kit to 5 gallons because it's going to make better wine. I modify the kit's instructions to give me more of what I'm looking for in a wine. My wines come out really nice. I think a lot nicer than if I was to just follow the instructions on some of these kits. The Vinoit kits, just like the Vino Italiano is the next generation, are pretty concentrated, and I think that, you know, if you have the ability to get one of those, they're a great place to get started. But if you make them to 6 gallons, they come out diluted. So I'm making it to 5, and instead of getting 5 additional bottles of wine that are all diluted, I'd rather get 25 bottles total and have a better quality wine for all 25 bottles. Alright, so thanks for watching, stay tuned, and we'll be at the next step soon. Alright everybody, thank you for watching, I really appreciate it. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to my video channel here on YouTube. And definitely check out my blogs, www.cookingitalianrecipes.com with the dashes in the middle, or my other one on winemaking, howtomakehomemade.biz. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, and have an awesome day.